For me, it's cliche, right? But it's the power of human relationships. I don't always have the answers. I don't profess to have all the answers. But I know if I put my hand up and I'm humble enough to say, the badge may be different, but we're all still human. We've all still got wives and husbands at home. The success of the project is a success. We're great at building bridges, building roads. We need to get better at.
Every road we travel, every bridge we cross, every rail corridor, water system, and airport that keeps our cities moving. Civil infrastructure shapes the world around us. But behind every project schedule, engineering design, and delivery milestone are the people responsible for bringing it to life. Leaders making difficult decisions, teams working under pressure, individuals whose voices, ideas, and well-being ultimately determine whether a project succeeds or struggles. Yet the human side of construction is not always the part we talk about. Paul Rhoden believes it should be. With more than 30 years delivering infrastructure across the United Kingdom and Australia, Paul has built a career working in the environments where safety, culture, and leadership matter most. From highways and bridge works to water infrastructure and resilient road networks, he has seen firsthand that the strongest projects are rarely defined by engineering alone. They are defined by the people leading them. Today, through his consultancy, Vulpra Contractors, and as host of the Construction Matters podcast, Paul is helping shift the conversation in industry towards leadership, culture, gender advocacy for diversity, and the responsibility construction has to the people within it. Welcome to the Building Doors podcast. Welcome to the Building Doors podcast.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to be here. And before, honestly, thanks, Lauren, for inviting me. It's the first time I've been a kind of a guest on a podcast. I'm always the one doing the podcast.
I know, that's why, because you run your own podcast. So I was thinking this is going to be a lot of fun for you to be in the hot seat yourself.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's game on, isn't it? And you know what? Sitting here, you know when you walk on a plane and you walk past those business class seats, and you get that wry smile from like, yeah, go on, keep moving, and they're adjusting the seat backwards and forwards, and you're like, oh, that's what this feels like. I'm in the business class. Bougie.
Welcome to business class.
Awesome.
I'm glad you love the studio, and I'm really keen. Your podcast is excellent. Construction Matters, isn't it?
It is.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
So people should definitely give it a listen. And I really particularly loved the recent episode from Jim's Mowing. That was so good.
Oh,
so
thank you.
giving you an absolute plug there. One of the things I always start with is where it started for you. Like, so before we delve into how you've evolved in terms of your ethos around the work that you do in construction, mental health, and all those other areas, I always like to know, why did you choose this industry? How did that happen?
It happened for me kind of a default. I mean, I always wanted to be a physicist, and I was the kind of smart guy in school without turning too egotistical, but I was kind of a soft kid, so I was bullied. And then I become the class clown. So I started Laugh Out in the Royal Navy because I flunked all my exams. So I went to the Royal Navy. That wasn't for me. At 16, you can imagine being in the Royal Navy at 16, right, going on a submarine. That's like... And then I went into construction because I needed to earn money. And then I just kind of like fell in love with it, because one thing I like about construction and many things is like, if you're willing to turn up and have a go and ask for help, you get help. And then I kind of like found my groove. And for me, it's cliche, right? But it's the power of human relationships. I don't always have the answers. I don't profess to have all the answers. But I know if I put my hand up and I'm humble enough to say, I'm struggling here, what do you think about this? And the wave of help that people just want to pass on that knowledge. It's like a social responsibility in construction, like camaraderie, you know?
One of the things, and we've spoken about this before, was the ability that when you build those relationships, you do a favour for someone, tit for tat. You were speaking it to me before when we were having coffee. Yeah. Talk me through like how you experienced that. So going through your career in construction, how did you start to experience that tit for tat, that building relationships?
I found that people will only put up with so much of underperformance. So yeah, when I was young, I mean, I was a typical teenager. I'd get drunk on a Friday. Monday morning I was late, but my boss saw something in me, but very quickly that was just like a hard, fast boundary. And it was very like, even though I thought was doing great work, the tit for tat was like, you do great for me, but you've got to respect my job and my role. And as soon as that's comes up against a hard border, then it's like, well, you've been doing this to me, then you get punished. And in business and in like our social environments, the tit for tat kind of ethos is like, as a human, and any decent human, it's like the measure of a human is doing something good when no one's looking. So why won't it do us any good to return that wallet, like we said, back to its original possessor? When really we know it won't do us any good in the outside world, but in hating us, we know it's the right thing to do. So tit for tat comes from game theory. It comes from thousands of strategies around trying to get to what's the best social outcome. So tit for tat is like, I do good by you, I expect good in return. I do good by you, I don't get good in return. I then do good by you again and I don't get good in return. Guess what? You're not getting good by me until it balances out again. So it might take two things for you to do good by me as a favour in return, to get back to that symbiosis of you do good for me, I do good for you. And tit for tat is a real well-established, they use it in politics. It's a tit for tat boundary. It's like the nuclear deterrent. Russia knows that if it launches a nuke at America, and it's that standoff tit for tat diplomacy. It's used quite a lot. And I find it interesting.
Me too.
And I know you raise it, and I often think about how does that apply to my own ethics. And I find you're very similar to me. You like helping people, but there's also that boundary. I mean, that help is not. It has to be two-way, right? It's got to be two-way. And yeah, that's.
It's the danger, isn't it? That when you're a person that likes to help is knowing when you can, when to say no, when to say yes. And that, I don't know, that for me, and I was talking to someone over coffee this morning, that takes years.
Who helps the helper? And something that I've learned, and I'm great at helping people. I'm not trying to big myself up, but I think I'm this lovable, affable human that likes to help people.
You are a helper, yeah.
Thank you. But then again, who helps the helper? And I'm one of the worst people at helping myself sometimes, and I've had to really focus on self-love and practice what I preach. And, because if not, I always find the measure of how good your mental health and resilience is how you behave at home. You know what I mean? So this is great to go and help people, but if you're crap at home, if you're not resilient at home, if you're not present for your wife or your kids, are you really that resilient? And it's time to take your own medicine, really.
And I'm glad you touched on that as well. Who helps the helper? I also want to talk to you about, one of the passions that developed for you through your career was mental health and construction and psychosocial safety.
Yeah.
Where was the personal journey in that for you that made that an important mission for you?
Oh, that's my favourite question that not many people ask. So I remember being 19, 20 in construction. You get your mentors who you really get attached to. Even though I remember Patsy Hand is dead now, and when he interviewed me for the job, he said, I've got two rules, Paul. He said, you'll know when you have to tell me something and don't ever lie to me. And that was his only rules. And it's like these hard, fast boundaries. So when Patsy died, I was 26, 27, and it really rocked me. And I saw me mentors. I'm like, God, everyone's like 55, 60, and they would, excuse me French, dropping off the perch, get into retirement and then not being around anymore. So I thought, I've got to look at this. And I started a PhD to try and investigate what's going on here. And if you worked in construction, if you was 40 years of age in construction in 1990, your life expectancy was 57 plus 8. Minus 4 years in construction. That was the stats back then.
Jeez.
And I'm like, we're losing these retirement. And I found that I think that retirement's kind of an illusion. Now, the general we might sell ourselves when I retire, that's when I'll start living. I'm going to work to retirement. But I think retirement's a really bad philosophy of the mind, because what you're doing, you're telling your body that once I'm retired, I've got no purpose. I might play golf. I might do a bit of things, but we're built to move, we're built to think, we're built to have purpose. And once we get over that retirement threshold, I think you should rip retirement straight out of the dictionary. I don't think it belongs in a dictionary at all. So there's a lot of salesy stuff around find your why and find your purpose, and I get that. And I went on this journey of investigating, and I come across burnout. So Christina Maslach in 1960 coined the phrase burnout. I'm like, what's this burnout thing? And it was in the medical health professions where a lot of emotional energy. And imagine working as my mum's a nurse, my sister's a nurse, and I'm like, they put so much. The caring professions put so much into the job. High rates of burnout because again, the helpers, who helps the helpers. So Christina Maslach come up with a burnout inventory, and I'm like, this is so needed in construction. This was 20 years ago, and I know construction's moved on a hell of a lot since then. There's burnout, rust out, and I'm like, this needs to happen in our industry. Like long working hours, working away from home, poor diets, drinking culture. This is back in the 90s, 2000s, male-dominated industry. You know, it was not very good at talking about our problems. Have a teaspoon full of concrete, harden up. And I was like, I found I was one of these kind of like oxymorons, like, and the way I got through my career, even though I think I'm relatively good at my job, but it's people. I love people. I love humans. Like, I'm the manager that phones you up on your birthday, not because it's look at me what I'm doing, but I want to know that it's your birthday, and I want to check in with you at least once a month. And we're sitting down. How's it going? What's happening for you? And these seem like really simple things. So I found that my power of being a good human was getting me further on in my career than just being kind of good or okay at my job. Because there's that kind of this big vacuum to be filled of leaders who are vulnerable, authentic, and the position and power and title was way down on the list. And I always say the cleaner is just as important as the CEO. And yeah, I'm copying a lot of catchphrases here, but it's true. I mean, if you get a leader who is basically leading from the back, it's not all about them. I mean, you see some CEOs, and I know I've got to check myself here because my wife says I could write longer speeches, but when I get talking, I'm too lazy to stop. But you see, you see some CEOs, they get on stage and the persona changes. But when they get off stage, like, they're relatively quite good humans. But you're like, why is that persona not in the business? Why are you not this caring, compassionate human outsider working your business? And the flow of that business, the culture would just rise. So that's kind of a bit of an insight to me. I was thinking, my friends are dying. And why are they dying? Why are they dying approach retirement or getting past retirement? I've got to do something about this. So I didn't get to finish my PhD because I moved to Australia, but I'm starting it again next year to finish it because the research has moved on. So thanks for that question, because that's at the heart. Anybody who's ever worked with me, I would hope that they would see that I'm calm, relatively calm, caring leader. And I really take an interest in you, your family, and what's going on. And if there's an issue, that's sacrosanct. Not to think I'm doing that because later on I'm going to get some really good work out of you, but it's just, you either care about people or you don't.
Yeah.
And it comes down to that, really.
And so I haven't told you this, but I had somebody that you work with talk to me about you. So in a very good way. So one of the things before we do episodes, it's great to hear what people say about the guest. And it was a lady that spoke to me who actually mentioned, and it leads nicely into our next topic, because, you know, you speak about, you know, caring about people. And one of the things that is a hot topic in the industry at the moment is advocacy in gender diversity and sponsorship and male sponsorship.
Massive.
This woman told me, we were having coffee, and I mentioned that we both knew you, and she said,
I blush at criticism. I don't take compliments.
Oh, no, most people don't, but it's okay. It's all right. It's a safe space, Paul.
Okay. Who's that?
And she said to me, Paul will, when it's my turn to speak, sometimes I'm the only woman in the room. Paul will make sure that my voice is heard. If somebody talks over the top of me, he will use his influence to stop them and allow me the opportunity to speak.
A bit emotional.
Yeah. And this is the stuff that really makes a difference. We talk about, and I'm not saying the other stuff, but this is the stuff that when women are speaking, you know, and want a voice, you've given her that voice and she's felt that. So Tell me about, I know it's getting you emotional, and that's great because it shows you care. Tell me about where that deep-seated need to give that voice comes from as well.
So when I was 9, my dad was cheating on my mum, and I remember I was begging my mum. I was like, "Mum, take him back, take him back." And my mum sat me on the couch and she put a finger on my chest. She said, "Paul, he's not coming back." And the reason he's not coming back is he's broke my trust. And I'm like, 'cause I'm back there, right? And I'm like, Mum, take him back. So he said, "Paul, you need to learn this lesson. When someone breaks your trust, that's it." And I come from the benefit streets of Wigan. So in Wigan, there's different classes. I mean, everyone's got a story, right? And this is not a sob story. And I think about this, and I'm a father of 3 daughters. So my oldest is 22. I've got a stepdaughter who's 18, and I've got a 4-year-old Maddie. All both unique and challenging and beautiful, awesome girls, especially my 4-year-old. She would not be spoken over. And when you say things like that, it comes down to equality is black and white for me. There's no wiggle room, and it's not that I'm going around trying to peter out the misogynists and the misandrists saying, "Let's find them out." For me, it's about a system. So I often think about Euclid. So Euclid's axioms.
Mm-hmm.
So Euclid, the mathematician, so he's got an axiom that those are equal to the same thing are equal to each other. It's built into fundamental mathematics. It's built into the system. It's built into how we are as humans. And so when my mum said, "My dad's not coming back," that was like a branding iron in my brain, like trust. And she could have had a very comfortable life with my dad. And my dad's outlook on life, we don't talk, is that women should be kept pregnant and barefoot in the kitchen.
Mm.
And that's just authority dressed up as fear.
Mm.
And I'm glad my mum didn't accept him back, because that was my role model, my dad. I mean, maybe I'd have turned out a lot different.
Mm.
I doubt it, because my mum's, and she had it tough. She had 3 jobs, auxiliary nurse, cleaning, working on a fruit stall, trying to keep us fed. You know, we had coats on the bed. It was not a sob story, it was a rough life, but it was a good life. It was an authentic life. And then when I think about my daughters, and I often think, well, my daughter was sat in this room, and my mum, and this woman who said this about me, that's why I get emotional, because I don't take, it's just part of what we should be doing right. And I don't accept that, we talk about male allyship, I don't accept that if we're going to try and lift the bar and make it a comfortable, safe space and really advocate for women in construction, then we have to enable spaces where women, yes, and also other people in the team, but women's important, because for an industry that claims to want to attract the talent it so desperately needs, just half the population right there, I struggle with things like best person for the job. Now, yeah, I know businesses have to make money and we've got to hire the right person for the job, but at what point do we say, well, actually this time she on paper isn't the best person for the job, but maybe she's more hungry. Maybe she is willing to go that extra mile. Maybe I'm going to have to pull her back rather than trying to motivate her and push her. Maybe that's worth investing in. You know what I mean? We can't always have the best person for the job when it comes to trying to attract and retain, you know, half the population in an industry where we desperately need the retention and the attraction. We know about barriers to entry. We know that we're working on that. So I that's where it comes from for me. It's like that deep-centered moral compass. And when I think about women in construction, I look at companies, and some companies do it really well, and they really are trying to get the gender pay gap sorted and all these legacy issues of a patriarchal business, which I'm seeing less and less more misogyny in the industry. It was, when I was in it, it was not good. It was a man dog eat dog world, and something I was totally embarrassed about being in. But when I look at a brochure, when I look at a social media post, I want to get to a point where normalising women in construction is as normal as or as boring as ordering concrete and steel. Not saying that women in construction is boring, but we need to get to a point where actually it's just the norm. And getting back to brochures and social media, that reveals intent, but sites reveal design. So when we go to really, you know, let's call A company. It's got this amazing, diverse. It's got a really good brochure. It's got all the people saying all the right things. So when we walk around the site, is it reflective of the brochure? Does the design of what the brochure is projecting reveal its intent? Are the toilet facilities there? Is the PPE fitting right? Are people being allowed to speak up in pre-starts or just quietly being not allowed or being subconsciously told to be quiet, your voice doesn't matter? All these things I look at. So that meeting point, which got me a bit emotional, I suppose that's where it all feeds from for me. And I'm not on a mission to, you know, say that the industry is this way. It's doing some really good things. It's got a lot of work to do. But I think as males, it's the little things. It's standing up for that woman in the meeting. It's saying, you know what? And I get back to my daughters. Do I want my daughters to work in construction? 4 days out a week, I'd say yeah. And the fifth day, I'd probably say no of what I see. And that hurts. But I want to know where the hurt lies. I want to go, wow, being hurt's one thing, but where does that hurt lie? Why do I not want my daughter to work in construction in this instance? It's because I've seen something in a business or a contractor that needs to be fixed. And I think if she was in that situation then, I wouldn't want her to be there. Now, my daughters are all wilting flowers. They're strong women. But for me, it's about the system. And it's about advocacy. And it is about, to be a male ally, it's really recognising all those things. The conversations at home. If my daughter came and said, Dad, I want to be a bricklayer, I said, great. Just now you know what this entails. I wouldn't be saying no. So I think the conversations at home are key. And for dads, this is to dads, like, you know, for dads and mums, but mainly dads, I think the stereotypical view of women in construction is a lot different now. You know, it's no longer the wolf whistling environment that it was in the 1990s. There's very remote pockets of that. It's not a perfect industry. Neither is IT financing. I speak to solicitors. I speak to a lot of people, and there is issues everywhere. And that's why we've got laws.
Yeah.
But really, the male allyship is about, that's the law. That's there for a consequence. But really, what about the behaviour and the culture? We can step up day to day. We can have those conversations and we can really lift the bar. And one person doing that in one meeting resets the consciousness for the other people in that meeting. Going, actually, shouldn't have done that. Should have just let sort of Susan. Should let Susan have a voice.
Yeah.
And I always think, if that was my mum or my daughter there, and that's what I want other males to think about. If that's my daughter, if that's my mum, would I let that happen? Well, no, then why are we letting it happen here? And that's why it triggers me. And my bottom lip was a bit, but that's why I think that should be the questions that my friends, brothers, sisters, and comrades in construction, and I'm talking to the many, are that those that do it, power to you, awesome. Don't be a bystander. It takes courage to be an upstander.
It really does.
It does.
Because you're often the only person in the room and you're making yourself vulnerable to help somebody else have a voice.
And we spoke about, what are the really essential traits of a leader? Vulnerability, authenticity, you know, and I can guarantee once you do it, it changes. It does change.
Does it change? Okay, so I'm curious as well. Once you've done it once, say you go back into the same meeting, do you notice the other men in the room? Do they do it again, or do you find they actually, or does it take a bit of time?
I've had several reactions. I think, and I've seen other men do it. So it's not the Paul Rhoden roadshow.
Yeah.
I've seen other men do it, and it's like when, let's say, Steve's in the room, the bar lifts. But once, let's call him David, once David does it while Steve's there, it lifts again. So Steve doesn't have to be in the room next time. And it's kind of like, that's one aspect of what happens.
Like a ripple effect.
It's a ripple, yeah. It is. It's contagious. It's like a beneficial fungus. And that's one aspect. The second aspect is also giving empowerment to our amazing women. So, you know what? Last time I was in this meeting, Paul stopped and said, can we, I'd just like to stop. I need to be heard on this. So it's giving that empowerment again. So Susan can do this and stand in her own truth. And then once that's seen, it's heard. And when we stand at pre-starts, so for all our guys and girls out there at pre-starts, there was good pre-starts and there were crap pre-starts. That is the set for the day. So again, at pre-starts, are we really involving everybody? Because you'll often find it's probably, and I'll actually use the cleaner analogy because it's on several jobs, the cleaners come up with some of the best ideas sometimes.
Yeah, okay.
Because
Awesome.
because he or she's seen things that everyone doesn't see.
They're everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, it's like having that emotional intelligence to go, we use Susan again. She's doing well. Susan at pre-start, I kind of didn't let her speak up last time. This time I'm going to go to her and say, hey, you've got some really good ideas. At pre-start tomorrow, I'm going to pause and can you just say a few things and reinforce that? And these seem like really obvious things in male allyship. And this is a very small example, but I think very powerful.
I think so too. And it leads in as well, when you're speaking about a good pre-start and a not so great pre-start, where all of a sudden we're not just talking about male allyship, but we're also starting to talk about building the right kind of project cultures. So I'm keen to talk to you about that as well, right? So we're trying to build the right behaviours, the right project culture, the right environment for people to be able to go to bloody work, go home and be full and provide to their family, both emotionally, spiritually, and financially.
Flourishing.
And flourish, and then do that at work.
Yeah,
and this
absolutely.
is not a utopia. We can do this.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
And that's what's so frustrating about it. I mean, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And what always makes me smile, and I've learned off some great people in the industry, my best boss was a woman. I'll give her a shout, Rachel Chandler, if you do get to listen to this.
I'm sure she will.
Yeah, I'll make sure she does. And when we talk about culture, and businesses have to make money. It's just a fact, a cold, hard fact of business. The businesses that get this right operate like this. Making money is a consequence of having a great culture. And what does great look like? It's the stuff we talked about. Voices that are heard, opinions that matter. When you challenge with respect, it's listened to. Phoning people on the birthdays, having a bit of a concern for your fellow comrade in construction, getting to know them a bit better, noticing when they're not actually something wrong, rather than just, it's a conversation I could have had, but I chose not to. Involving people on the journey at work, in both the day, the tenders, the leaders, kind of like dissolving, don't worry about position and power, because if you're good at your job, that'll chase you. And having that culture, so it's great culture, which promotes great safety, which promotes great quality, which promotes client satisfaction and client delight in the client. And guess what? The consequence of that is making money. Because it's repeat business, it's client delight, but you're retaining your people. The flip side of that is that businesses put money first, making money. So everything it's like if you only carry a hammer, the only problem you see is a nail. So putting money first, everything you see is a money question. It's like, what will this cost? Not the value. What's the cost of this? Not the value. What's the currency of this? Not the value. And you see it. I bet you see it in your business.
100%.
And it's like, I mean, you're in the retention, but you're a retentionist. I mean, that's what's so unique and beautiful about how you approach work. And how I look at work is like people first. And not people first that we've got to give them everything to make them happy, but it's respect. It's having that common respect for each other. And when you start on that foundation, you build great companies.
I think, any time you get too focused on revenue and those vanity metrics and you really get hung up on that, and I've seen it with project cultures as well, when the project is, not making money and everybody is feeling the push and the pressure, and it's a pressure cooker. And it's interesting to see, what does the project director or project manager do at that point? How do they build and keep that culture and keep that project motivated when, we know everyone's been on a job that's losing money and you're trying to, keep morale up. I'm interested in your journey there as well. You know, how do you, like, and I'm speaking to a lot of the people listening that are going to be on projects right now. And I think people don't always think about the human element for the leader, that the emotional and mental load it takes. You're often bearing the brunt if the things aren't making money.
The meat in the sandwich.
Oh, you are the meat in the sandwich. But then you still need your people to have that fulfillment at work, to want to finish the job, to, you know, feel good about the work that they're doing, because there's so many reasons outside of everyone's control that a project could be losing money. How do you, and how have you learned to be able to keep that?
So several things, but the best thing that I've done and seen done and had done is that two things. One, before a project starts, I've seen great leaders saying, we're not ready to start this project. We're going to postpone it for 2 weeks. We just ain't ready. Because the way we start a project is the way we go on. It just sets the whole tone. Everything's a rush. And that's hard for a business to comprehend. But I've seen that happen. It works. So if we don't know, we don't go. When a project, we've all been there, and stuff's going sideways, and what happens is the leaders in that business, they do feel it, and they can react in two ways. It takes me to a story. I remember a story in Vietnam where this lieutenant was captured, right? And the captain of the army was saying, we're going to get out by Christmas. We're going to get out by Christmas. And the lieutenant got his squad together and said, look, we're going to have to face this. We ain't going to get out of here. Let's be real. The chance of us getting out of here is not going to happen. The captain of his squad, they all died. It's a famous story. I forget the captain's name. They died.
All of them.
Hope killed them. Hope killed them. So what I'm saying is that the lieutenant that said, look, we're not going to get out of here, they all got out. They all survived. And the reason they survived is the first reality. So what I'm getting back to projects is that one very hard thing to do, but one very real thing to do is go, all right, let's stop. This is the current reality. We're in trouble, right? We're in trouble. We're just going to stop. Now, that would ring alarm bells through any construction business. Stop, revenue, we can't stop. But to take a pause and to realise where we are, what's going wrong, how we're going to fix it. But before we get to that, is like stop and say, I know everyone's not okay. I know we're feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm not okay. I'm struggling. And I need your help. I'm here for you, but I need your help too. And having that reset, saying, look, we're in the Vietnam, the lieutenant mentality. Chances are, at the moment, we're not going to meet the program. We're not going to get through this. So let's just stop. Stop the whole job. And they have a reset. Everyone comes in, and they get all the grievances. They get it all out. And the skill of the manager at that point is to not take it personal. And that's a real skill, is he or she wants to know where the hurt lies. I don't want to know what's working well. Not really, that's not what I don't want to tell me what's working well. Where's the hurt lying? What's going wrong? We've established, is everybody okay? We're doing it tough, we're working away from home, whatever. Where's it going wrong? And the supply chain, not just the delivery team, get everybody in. Where's it going wrong? Right. What can we do to fix it? What can we do better? You'd be surprised how that doesn't happen, I don't think. It does on some businesses, but the guts to do that, the moral fortitude of a leader to do that, and the phone number ringing off from his CEO, the client's on his back. So you've got to really take the client on the journey. We need to stop. We're going sideways. And then plan to act and review that every day. Every morning, what went right yesterday, what went wrong, what do we need to keep doing? A bit like lean construction, I've seen that work really well, but the human element, tapping into that human element of that, we're in trouble. Yes, it's just a job, but people, how people take work, really, it becomes part of the DNA, and that's what's great about the industry. It is, it's very personal. So then I found that to be really powerful, really powerful.
Have you done it?
Yes.
Tell me, how did it go down?
Oh, I remember it was my last company. We were $1 million in the hole after 2 months. And in a small business, that's massive.
Huge.
Then $2 million in the hole. And I said to my boss, we're stopping. It's like, so we're stopping. You can fire me, but trust me, if we stop now, we'll rescue this. It's like, prove me. I said, let's not do analysis paralysis. Let's not get bogged in the detail. We need to find out what is not going right. And once we stop, because every day becomes the norm. We'll just try and do the same thing again, and we're just trying to, it's like the definition of madness. You know, trying to achieve something different by doing the same thing or looking for hers on the palm of your hand. So we stopped. And we found out what was going wrong. And you know what? It was two people that I would never have expected that had the answers. It was one of our, I'm not doing labourers, but one of our labourers on site and our paver operator. And although people would say, surely you'd know, your paver operator would know what's going on. But because we've been in this high pressure, we're losing money, and we were focused on the revenue, we turned that job round. Right, within a month, we'd got the $1 million back, and we come out of that job $2 million in front.
Stop.
And you can speak to people. That is a God's honest truth.
What did you, how did you uncover this information?
So we got everyone together. We said, look, this is where we are. What's going wrong? And I said, there's no blame. I promise you there's no blame. I really need to know what's going on because, yes, we're losing money, but we're going to lose this client. And all of us are working away from home. We all want to do there's nothing better in construction than looking at your day's work and going, oh, yeah, we crushed that today. There's something so rewarding about that. I think that's the addiction. It's like golf. You do 10 crap shots and then you nail that one shot and you're back in there. And so we found out that it was several things. Efficiency at the plant, the way the paver's operating. We changed the way it operated, went from this system to a Leica system, plug for Leica. The way the trucks were coming from the quarry, the way the client was managing things. And almost overnight, it was like, God, was it really that simple? Was it really that simple? A big shout out to Daniel Kilkeary, who was involved in that project because he was under the pump, you know, and others out there, Steve Node, who was on the paver, and Ryan, and everybody else on that job. The courage to tell me what was going wrong. I mean, because they can approach me. I'm not a dragon, but it's hard to sometimes when you're in the thick of it, see what's going wrong. You need to pause and give yourself time to reflect and go, oh, are we really doing that? Are we really doing that every day? And then we stopped, and the client was throwing delay notices at us, threatening us with all kinds of stuff. And I've got a really good friend, Stuart Walls. He's a commercial barrister. I'm now unplugging people here, but I've got to give credit where credit's due. Without those four key people, we turned that job around like that, and we crushed it. And it was like a billiard table. And everybody was like, yeah. And Daniel would go to McDonald's, and I'll go to McDonald's. We stopped the truckers, and how's it going, mate? You know, and they knew what they had to do. And it seemed simple, right? But I think that's something for me that the courage to stop and ask your people and receive that information and creating that space where it's okay to say the things that we really don't want to hear.
How do you create that space where, like, what did you actually do to make sure that people were being communicated to, like from crew to client, like across all levels? How did you do that?
I was vulnerable. I was really vulnerable. I was like, guys and girls, I need your help. I've not got the answers. I've been in this game for 30 years. And from what I know and from what Daniel knows and from what Steve knows, we can't nail this. What's happening? What I need. And I was like, at the point I had to really be so vulnerable, more than I normally would be, and say, it's okay. I want to hear everything. If it's one-to-one, it goes no further. I don't care. I'm not going to say who said it, but I need to know because I need to fix this because it's pride. We get this going again. We'll feel good about ourselves. We're working away. We're coming to work. We're dragging our feet. It's not working. And there's nothing worse than going home when you are trying your best and it ain't working. And there's some things that, we're corks in a river. There's some things that are just totally out of our control. But the things that are in our control and it's out of control, that's all we can manage. We can only control what we can control. The rest, I'll deal with the client. Don't worry about the client. Yeah, we can't change the weather. Me and Daniel will talk to the quarry. They'll come on the journey with us. We'll explain. I went to the quarry. I said, guys, I need your help. It's not a financial thing. This is a pride thing. I'm feeling it. I'm not sleeping. Can you help me?
Mm.
And like we spoke about before, when you're vulnerable and when you're authentic and you ask someone for help, it is a really poor person who won't give you help. In this industry, 9 times out of 10, they want to help. And that goes back tit for tat thing. I help you. Remember Paul at that quarry when they ring? Yeah. And you're going to pay that back. And it might not be to your immediate commercial benefit, but that's got to be paid back and in spades. And that's what I like about the industry. Those that really don't want to cut you down, the tall poppy syndrome, who want to help. And that goes into business development, it goes into everything. You know, to form real relationships, you help people more than they can help yourself, but do it genuinely. You know, if they lose the job, you ring them up because you care, not because you're thinking, oh, maybe down the road, Stephen or Sarah will help me. You got to be there for them. It might take 10 minutes. And then you put it in your diary, call him again in 2 weeks' time. How you doing, mate? Just checking in. Can I help you? This is, for me, this is the fundamental part of being a good human and being a good manager. And anybody who wants to be a leader for position and power, you're in the wrong game. That's got to chase you by just your actions and your behaviour. And that another saying that one of my bosses used to say, don't worry about position of power. Don't chase it. It'll chase you when you're ready. And you may not want it.
Yeah, when you get it.
Yeah. That's what I always tell. There was one lad I worked with and he wanted to be a GM. He wanted to be a GM. I said, you're just not ready. I'm sorry. You know, you're chasing this position and trust me, when you get it, you won't want it. You're either going to love it or hate it. It's the Marmite role. You either love it or hate it, you know, because you are the meat in the sandwich unless you approach it this way. And, you know, sometimes you can't make a parrot from a crow, you know, and you have that capability come, and people just, they take that hard sometimes because they want they see the title of a GM or a project manager or a senior PE or a CEO. And I think 9 times out of 10, people in those roles will say, yeah, I love my job, but you really don't want this sometimes. It's like, it's not all it looks like it's cracked up to be. Unless you really are on a mission that serves your purpose, serves your value. You're in a business that it's your waking dream, that you're doing it for the people, you're doing it for the benefit of some mission. You know, say a CEO is in a business because she believes that by her actions, she's making the world better, and by turning up every day and believing in her people and doing those small things. And her goal that she knows she's going to make a difference. That's a CEO. That's a leader. The one that's in there for the money and the power and, you know, is, we all know this, that's the wrong person in that role. So that's it. That's what I think is one of the fundamental.
You're making it one of the things that gets me thinking about as well when you talk about that. And it's something that I think leaders need to have with these career conversations, is helping people to understand what it is that engages them at work and why they show up to work, and then understanding that if those do not align with what a GM needs to be engaged and, you know, aligned with, you will not like that job. And I think people chase the title, they need to chase what's important to me. You know, you might be a design engineer. You may never want to be a leader because you know why? You love being on the tools. You love and get intense recognition and reward from designing, you know. And I think, like, I see this in my job all the time. I think people need to think about, what does that role look like? Take the title away. Let's look at your day-to-day. Is that going to fulfill you? Because one of the things I find really interesting about you is you've had this amazing career moving through projects, GM, now business development. Tell me about that personal journey.
So I left my other business for several reasons. So I was made redundant, and that rocks anybody. I don't care how resilient you are. It does rock you, because it's easy to say that the business has had a restructure, and yeah, that's a fact of business. You know, that does happen. But we all get invested in our job. So when that happened to me, the biggest thing that hurt me was leaving the people. You know, that is hard for me to leave. So that rocked me a little bit. So I built a fence at home in my time off. And then
But it's the best fence ever.
you should see this fence.
When
Yeah.
you see engineers,
Yeah.
they send me pictures all the time of what they build. I'm like, mate, you could charge money for that.
Don't take offence in it. So then I was approached to do BD, and I thought, you know what? I can do this. I do it anyway, but really, BD for me is about relationships. Yes, it's strategic. Yes, you got to look at where the market is. You got to look within the business first before you can promote it without. But for me, BD is three things. It is relationships, authentic, vulnerable, real. Because to just go and meet somebody and start to get a relationship going, as a social anthropologist, we're tribal. Human beings are tribal, and to get accepted into a tribe, I mean, take the gorillas, for example. You know that you got to sit on the edge, and then you're not a threat, and then you can slowly move in, and they test you. But to get into that tribe involves trust. So if I was to come and see you, let's say you're working for a tier 1 company, and the first time I've met you, I would not talk about business. I would not talk about anything. I just get to know, and I'd be very open about that. So look, this is about relationships. We might never do another job together, but I just want to meet you. This is what I am. This is what I can do to help you and your business that might not benefit my business, but here to help and be real and turn up real. Secondly, business development then is when you look at a business and you can see what we do really well and the sectors we need to get into, is when you go and see a client, when you're going to win a job, it becomes project development then. The second thing I think people miss is, and I don't like the word subcontractors, business partners. You know, there's such an opportunity in this industry right now, and I think it's being missed by several businesses. The supply chain is your heartbeat. You know, I mean, if I get paid at 20 days from the government, I should be paying my supply chain the next day, not 45 days end of month. You know, I mean, what kind of service are we expecting? That business partner is going to not share the risk, not share the innovation, not share the capacity and capability. It's going to give you a price. It's not going to be the best price, but if that's all we're hunting, best price, this is long-term, enduring relationships, because in the tier 1 space, very little tier 1 companies now can self-deliver. The more or less, which is fair enough, some have got self-delivery capacity, but they rely on the supply chain. They rely on the business partners. Yeah. So one opportunity, look at all this work coming up. If you want the best price, you want the best value. So you have a conversation, look, we're going to pay you. That's your price. We're going to pay you when we get paid, because you've got business too, you've got cash flow issues. The risk, we're going to absorb some of that risk together, because a risk is only a risk if you don't know what you're doing. You know, so we're in the risk business, construction. And these risks are not new. You know, there's nothing fundamentally different that we're doing about building bridges and building roads and building airports and building hospitals. Yes, the specs change and the environment changes, but the risks are fundamentally the same when we come to building stuff. Legislation changes and we have to adapt to that. But I always think that the businesses that do this well are most competitive.
I remember, so it was a new client of mine, and my favourite clients do this, right? I remember they paid dead on time, which in our world doesn't happen, where we're you know, unfortunately. Yeah. And I actually was speaking to the CEO at one point about a role we were recruiting for him. And I mentioned it to him, and he goes, do you know what? That's been our business ethos from the start. We've always paid our suppliers on time with good payment terms. And he said it cost us initially. It really did. But now financially, it's paying dividends. And what it is as well is moving away from that master-servant relationship with your suppliers.
That's right.
This isn't, we're all in this together, you know. We win, you win, you know. And I feel so passionate about that.
Yeah, me too.
And you see that, and it's the little things that you just mentioned then that show us that. It's paying your subbies in fair payment terms. It's asking the cleaner for their input as well. It's all these little micro behaviours that build the right culture of collaboration and partnership.
Construction's not the death of 1,000 cuts. It's the success of 1,000 opportunities, and they're everywhere. They're everywhere. And this is not utopian idealism. This is just common sense. It's just not that common. When we talk, payment terms is one. And you're right about some businesses have that master-slave, master-servant, I don't like the word slave, sorry, master-servant relationship.
Yeah.
And going to, when you go to your business partner, you go, look, we've got this tender. Yeah, I know you pay. When you know you like working with us, you pay on time. We need you. We need you to work with us and bring all your smarts to the table. We'll share the risk, and I'm repeating myself, and commit to us. I know you're pricing to other people, but I can guarantee that service offering will be niche and better than the others who are going 45 days end of month. Give us your price, and then when we win, we go back for another chop at the price, and we start shopping you around against the other subcontractors. This has been happening for years, and some companies embrace it, and some companies don't. Some companies grow quickly and fall over, like anything in nature that grows quickly. Usually, it falls over, and Ezra Brothers do that with the supply chain. They do pay on time. They pay when they get paid, and I find that really good. Other companies I've worked for have done that on time as well. But to me, having that culture of when we're talking in the tendering or delivery or on-site space is that the badge may be different, but we're all still human. We've all still got wives and husbands at home. And the success of the project is a success of your supply chain. The success of the project is the success of our people. And these aren't statements. They're not just catchphrases. This is real stuff. And once embraced and once engaged and once delivered, the consequence will always be making money, enduring revenue, delighting clients. You know, that's the business we're in. We're in the repeat business. But to get that, there's a lot of work to do in some businesses because egos take over. And then a manager, he or she may think they've all the answers. You don't. Trust me. No one's got all the answers.
No.
And it's those conversations that get shut down, or the supply chain that's not brought on the journey. This is simple. This is real. And then guess what? It's a really bloody good place to work. Those projects that, they were tough, but they were great. You know, that, and then guess what happens? The team gets dismantled, and then the recipe can either be repeated because it's part of the company's DNA. And how many times have we been on a project? Oh God, I wish that team was still together.
And you know what else the byproduct is? And I said this to a client the other day. You build great cultures, and you build those cultures from the behaviours you have on the project. You know, we say in the industry there's an attraction. It's hard to get good people. Yes. Yeah, of course it is. But build something they want to come to.
Yes.
Build somewhere they want to go.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden people want to work for you. Yeah, okay, it's probably you're still going to need to sell them the dream of what it would look like and paint the picture for them, but make it somewhere people want to go to work. Because I feel like we're always going, as an industry, going, there's not enough people, we're scrambling for people. And yes, that's true.
Yeah.
But let's think deeper.
Yes.
What do we need to create where people want to come to work here? What do we need the industry to be where women are putting their hands up and going, I want to come in construction. That's the place I want to be.
We've got too many people for the roles. What do we do?
What do we do?
Yeah.
That is the position I'd love us to be in. And this is a bloody brilliant industry. You know, it really is. And so, like, for me, you know, I have a daughter as well. She actually does want to be an engineer, which is amazing.
Yes.
So I, you know, also want to go, well, similar to you with your daughter, I want to make this environment where she wants to, you know, show up, and my son as well. Both of them can show up equally. So I think that it's deep. It's about looking at the bigger picture too when we're saying there's a skills shortage and all that sort of stuff as well.
We're great at building bridges, building roads. We need to get better at building people. You know, I mean, I did a podcast with a guy called Dr. Andrew Tesler. It's called The Cost of Doing Nothing. And for every dollar that you spend into people, invest into people, you get a $4 return. Now, I can hear CEOs and CFOs going, show me the return on investment. Something you just can't measure. It's in culture. It's in reduction in presenteeism. It's in increase in involvement, embedment, attracting more of the right people. And, you know, you've been very complimentary about me today, and I love you for it because I know it's real, but you've got a really good outlook on how you approach your business. And I mean that.
Thank you.
No, it's true. I mean, I'm not going to criticize the other side of the industry that you work in, but what's niche about you and what comes across is you care. It's not just about the placement, it's about retention, it's about fit. And the effort you go into making sure that your clients have got the right fit and have got the right person, that to me is so unique. It's not a meat grinder turnover game, it's quality over quantity. And that builds its own momentum. And
thank you.
it does. And that's why, I mean, believe it or not, your name's really good in the industry.
Oh, thank you.
It is. And I know you might think I'm pumping your tires. It's true. And I'm not going to go into all your secrets because that would be unfair. But you've got a really good recipe for it. But it's real. It's authentic, and you're doing it because you care. And so power to you. And I think that's going to be a major differentiator, because businesses that look to get quality people, they go straight to cost. They go straight to what's the cost of this hire. But that person in one decision can get that back tenfold. And the cost of not having the right person, it puts, and I'm standing on your shoulders here, it does put pressure on the people. Burnout increases because the people, we take the load. The construction is like that. We take the load. We do. We just naturally don't want to see our colleagues fail. So we take on that burden and we take on that load. So businesses, you know, the quality of hire is quality outcomes every day of the week.
I 100% agree. And I'm going to share something really personal, I suppose, because I feel you have as well. I reflected over the last few years and so many things that had happened in construction that I had seen. I had seen a young project manager take his own life early on in my career. Because of he had a lot of other things going on, but pressure was part of it. I knew him well, and he had promise, he had potential. I've seen friends of mine go through divorce because of the pressure that they've been under. And I came to this point, and I think honestly it was when I had children, where I went, if I'm going to be going in every day, I want to do something that I'm proud of and that they're proud of. And that means I want to be able to have the impact with what I do. I want to connect people and I want to contribute. And like, if I can have a business that does that, I don't really like, and genuinely, and I won't need to focus on the balance sheet because I'll feel great about what I contribute every day. And I can proudly say to my kids, I know that whatever we do is making the world better. And I know that sounds really corny, but it's just the truth. You know, and for me, it's like when we can start to take the time and reflect on what contribution we want to make, and if we get to do that in our jobs, to me, that is utopia.
People talk about currency, and straight away you think money. That social currency, you know, that real, and that's where I'm at in my life. And I've started, I'm not plugging myself, but and you're helping me with that, to see that, you know what, Paul, it's time to do things that you love. And I need to be able to look in the mirror at myself, which, you know, I've got a face for radio, so I don't spend too much in the mirror. But
this is on YouTube too.
I know. Can we not put a filter of Jason Statham over or something? And yeah, it's time for, yes, you've got to earn money, but how you go about that, the consequence, spoke about consequence today, will be making money if you align with your values, and it just will. And that's something I've learned probably a bit later in life. Because I'm a bit of a pleaser and I don't like letting people.
Yeah. It takes us a bit longer because when you're trying to help other people, you're looking outwards instead of looking within. It just takes a lot longer because you're serving others, that you don't hang on, go, does me serving others also serve me? Because the Holy Grail is when you can do both.
And it's like they're all saying, isn't it? Choose a job that you love and you won't work a day in your life. And I think a lot of people do love the job in the industry and they do care. And, you know, it is a fact that men's frontal lobes develop a lot longer after women's do, and they've got a big jump on us there. And maybe we only mature when we get to 50, and we start thinking more about those deeper questions in life. And I think having Maddie, so I've got an amazing wife, you know, Renee. She's amazing, strong woman. You know, really has allowed me to grow over the last 5 years as well. We have our moments, don't worry, but and Maddie has caused me to reflect, and I keep a journal because my first 2 kids, I was there, but I was working away a lot, and I missed so much, you know. And I look back, and that marriage ended, and I thought, well, okay, obviously marriage weren't right. That's fair enough, but at what price and at what point did I really enjoy those moments with my kids? I did, and I was always present, and I was always at the beach. And now with Maddie, I keep a journal, and I know that one day, if I'm privileged enough and if my genes will allow it, I'll be around when she's older. And I posted something on LinkedIn, not to be a look at me parent, but just to hopefully give mums and dads who, you know, like yourself as well, who, you know, go out and do the grind, to just walk to kindy for 10 minutes. And I did that, and I've not done it for a while. I usually drop her off in the car, and it's like, you know, oh, Dad, don't leave you, I've got to go, honey, you know. But this time I thought, you know what, no, I'm doing this. And I bloody enjoyed it. And she did. And it was 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And 5 minutes at kinder. I didn't do the rush drop off. I sat down. I spent 5 minutes. Then obviously there's a time when you got to go. And I walked out of there and I was crying because I'm a softie. And I'm like, is it that simple? Is that simple? Just spend time with your kids. That easy? And that's what I said about resilience and mental health, really, you know, if you're on track when it shows up at home. Because we get into the witching hour, you know, and no matter what your family dynamic is, if you're stay-at-home dad and you're doing, or if you're stay-at-home mum, or you've got a mixture, mum comes in, dad comes in, kids are tired, that witching hour, and that's where true resilience and mental health really kicks in. And then you just, I was talking to someone recently, and he said that the way he approaches life, and I've started trying this out, he said, when someone upsets me, or when a situation upsets me, what I've started doing is not reacting, or not trying to react, because as soon as we do that, we're automatic. Emotions are automatic, conditioning's automatic, and how we react is automatic. What I've started doing is get really inquisitive and really curious about why this person is triggering this reaction in me. And it's not the person, it's me. And taking a bit of responsibility and going, oh God, Janet or John is, I'm reacting like that. And then you get this kind of pause in your conscious mind. And it only takes about a week of doing it. It's really fun. It's so much fun.
I'm so going to try
it
now.
It's so much fun. It's like, because it's like, it challenges you. You're like, okay. But then you start to get this pause where your mind can go, hang on, don't react. Listen to her. It's your conditioning, not hers. It's your conditioning, not his. You're not accountable for their behaviour, but are you reacting in this moment? And you get a pause. And I've probably done it 6 times out of 10 the last week. And it's scary. And then you can take it a little step further than that, which you can go and start framing what I'm going to allow to affect me. So you go in and go, I'm not going to allow anger to affect me today, because if I get angry or someone upsets me, I'm just going to go to my value system. I'm a good human. It's not them, it's me. Unless someone's bullying you, or it's really, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
I mean, we're talking day-to-day mechanics of living here. And I did that. And I'm like, I thought I was quite a well self-managed person, which I think I am. But this was like next level. And that to me is also, it links into spending time with your kids, spending time doing the things that you love. A lot of people talk to me about, so Paul, mental health, burnout, what do I do? And as if I've got all the answers. I've got some. For me, I think you've got to look at your energy as a wheel. And things that you love your partner, you love your kids, do you love your job or not? Some do, some don't. But what else do you love? So if loving your kids gives you 10 out of 10 energy, if loving your partner gives you 10 out of 10 energy, if loving your job gives you 7, what am I sacrificing that I'm not done for a long time? For me, it's reading and writing. Yeah, I'm a John Steinbeck tragic. I'm a George Orwell tragic, a sci-fi tragic. So some people like knitting. Some guys might like knitting. When's the last time you picked up the needles? When's the last time you picked up a book? When's the last time you did something for you? And give yourself that self-love. And you can map it out. For those Excel wizards out there, you can map it out and say, every day I need to go home, spend half an hour with my wife, hug her, kiss her, listen to her day, vice versa for my husband, hug him, kiss him, listen to his day, get the kids to bed, and then have our time, and then me time. So I'm plot that out. And then reflect over a week and say, I'm feeling a bit crusty this week. It's Wednesday. Why am I feeling crusty? I didn't really spend time with John. I need to lift me again. I've not done my knitting. Come on, guys, do your knitting. And then start to kind of look at those things that you're not giving back to yourself. A lot of people talk about self-love. It's so hard to give yourself that space. And as mums and dads, it sounds utopian, but 10, 15 minutes a day, trust me, I've started reading again for half an hour and, I'm in the zone.
It changes. Yeah, I definitely resonate. It changes your world when you give yourself that permission. One of the questions I always ask, which I'm curious of you, because it's always a big question and people sometimes struggle with it. Legacy. What is the legacy you hope to leave for your life's work?
Here lies Paul Rhoden, had a few laughs, then found a lump. No. My legacy, I never thought about my legacy, if I'm honest. I think for my legacy would just be that it was always there if I needed him. You know, Paul was one of the people I could just pick up the phone and I know he's going to be there for me in a troubling time. And for my kids, I'm going to get emotional. For my kids, I think grief is directly proportional to how much you miss someone. So I would want them not to worry about why I'm not here anymore, but hopefully the values and the love I give them, they could pass on to the kids. So mine's a simple legacy, is just hoping that I touched a few people and made a difference in their lives. And I've never really thought about that actually, because it feels a bit selfish. If I'm honest, it feels like I start thinking about legacy, I'm starting to worry about what people think of me. And that's my legacy really, that people that know me, they can ring me and I'm there for you. I'm always there for people that ring me. Might not get back the same day, but I know I will be there for you. And if it's urgent, they'll text urgent and I'll stop everything and ring them. I think just being present for people, giving people space to be heard. And it's hard to do that, especially when you're busy.
Yep.
And I'll finish by this. Like, how many times when you walk into your boss's office, or do they stop doing what they're doing, they look up and they give you that time? Or when they're in a meeting, they're on the phone and half listening, or not just your bosses, but your colleagues. Time is the only currency you've got, really. And to give people your time is everything. So, yeah, I think that's just my little legacy.
It's beautiful. I think my very most favourite managers or people, and some of them are clients that I'll go and see, and my favourite ones will stop everything. They're not taking calls. They are just genuinely there having lunch, or, they might call you in the office, shut the door and say, let's chat.
Yeah.
These are just these such precious moments. They mean more than anything else, with, people you work with and your family.
Yeah.
So the next one's the rocket round. So the rocket round is a bit of fun that we are asked to just learn about.
Bring it on.
So the first one is coffee or wine?
Wine.
Wine. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Favourite holiday destination?
Australia.
Okay, awesome. Favourite book?
The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. Or it could be The Road to Wigan Pier by George Orwell.
I'm going to mix this up as well. What foods do you hate?
Prawn cocktail crisp. I can't stand them. when it comes to food, I can resist anything but temptation. Food's my kryptonite, but prawn cocktail crisps, I can't stand them. They just taste like lipstick or something. But,
What's something weird about you nobody knows?
oh, God, too much. I think one thing what people won't know about me is that the universe and the stars, and I'm a big sci-fi tragic. The thing about sci-fi is when I look into the sky, and I don't want to insult anybody, so I'm not going to do whatever you believe in. When you look into the night sky, and it just gives me a feeling of how small we are in a really poor, remote suburb of the universe. And when you try and look at the sky and think of a singularity or a star, and there's more stars in the night sky than there are grains of sand in all the world, that gives me a real feeling of loneliness, but also privilege, because I don't think we're the only things that exist with a consciousness. The chance of finding something else to consciousness is very small, just due to size. But I look in that sky and it gives me hope. I think, how amazing is this, that the chance of us being alive is so infinitesimally small as Lauren or Paul. The chance of us existing at all is minute. 99.9% of species have ever existed are extinct on the planet. And we almost went extinct, Homo sapiens. We're down to about 2,000 and we almost joined. So we would never be able to witness other animals and this universe. We were almost joined our other common ancestors on the planet. So when I look in the night sky, it's one of privilege, loneliness, hope, beauty, and how effing awesome is this?
Love that. And this is the question I always ask to end the episode. What makes you feel like you're home?
My daughters, my son, my family, and my dog.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got me emotional this episode. I need some tissues. It's been an absolute pleasure having you as a guest.
Thank you so much.
And I'd heard so much about, what you've done to support other people in the industry. And I want to give that as a credit to you as well.
Thank you.
Not just people listen to your podcast, but people that have just spoken about what a good human you are. And that's just shone through in this episode. So thank you for being so vulnerable and open. As always, I encourage people to listen to your podcast as well. I really enjoy it. It's great.
So thank you.
It's a really good one to listen to. And I actually have met with other people that also listen to it. So definitely have listened to Construction Matters. But how can other people connect, learn more about what you do and connect with you?
Yeah, I think we'll just reach out. So I've got my own consultancy and I'm on LinkedIn. And if you want me to come and make a difference and try and make a difference in your business and on your workplace, I'm here with an open heart and open mind to do so. And there's a bit of a tradition in construction that when I first got in construction, the first day you had to sing.
What?
So you as an apprentice in construction.
Where's this going?
Whether you could sing or not, you had to sing.
Okay.
So I know you've got a voice, Lauren.
Oh my gosh.
I know you've got a voice. Now, could we hear it today?
Oh my gosh.
This is something that you've just, we're sharing here. You just recently, re-tapped into one of your passions. Now, I'll go. I'll do my dulcet tones. I'll have a blast, but I reckon.
Totally stitched up.
It's a tradition.
This was not scripted.
I know, we're going off script here.
All right. You have to sing first then.
Right, I'll give my really crap rendition of Kingsley on Sex on Fire for a few lines. Yeah, your sex is on fire, and you. That's me. And that took some doing, trust me.
Okay. I'll sing you something, which is one of the things that I sing to my kids sometimes. And it's just it's off like, I think it might have even been Sister Act or something, but it's like a little ethos. Okay.
Yeah,
it goes,
do it. Go.
If you wanna be somebody, if you wanna go somewhere, You better wake up and pay attention. There you go.
That was awesome.
First time you've got me to sing on the podcast.
That was, well, we talk about being authentic and vulnerable and real, and that was top dollar. That was top dollar.
So is your sex is on fire. I mean, come on.
Well,
Passion. Thank you so much for coming as a guest.
you.
And whoever stayed to listen to the end of the episode gets that.
Oh, yeah, no, it's just that little extra credit, that bonus reel. Oh, thanks, Lauren. Thanks for believing in me, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk. And yeah, I hope I came across real. That's all I can be. And
yes,
yeah.
you did. And you stitched me up at the end, which is great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
If this episode gave you new insights, don't let them go to waste. Take action, apply them. And if you want more insider strategies from the best in construction and infrastructure, make sure to subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, the leaders who open the most doors aren't waiting for opportunities, they're building them.